One eruption buried an entire civilization in minutes. Hey guys, it's me. And today we are going to talk about one of the most destructive volcanic eruptions in history. The year is 79 AD. For the past 2 months, people have been feeling earthquakes throughout Italy. On August, people in the Roman Empire were going about their day when the ground began to shake violently. They ran outside to see a massive plume of smoke rising from Mount Vesuvius. People began to flee the city, but it was too late. In just over 36 hours, the volcano erupted, burying the entire city in ash. This event would change the course of history forever. The eruption of Mount Vesuvius was one of the deadliest in recorded history. When the volcano erupted, it was the second largest in Europe and the largest in the Roman Empire. At the time, it was thought to be invincible, but Mother Nature had other plans. You might know Mount Vesuvius today as the home of the infamous Roman city of Pompeii. However, at the time of the eruption, there were actually 3 major cities nearby: Pompeii, Herculaneum, and These 3 cities were home to around 11,000 people. It all started with the earthquakes. For 2 months before the eruption, people felt earthquakes throughout Italy. They continued to get stronger and stronger, so much so that Pliny the Younger, who was a Roman author, described them as the strongest that he felt in his 46 years of life. Because of this, many people fled their homes and sought refuge in the countryside. Little did they know, these earthquakes were just the beginning. On August, people began to notice a small mountain of smoke rising from the summit of Vesuvius. By that evening, it had grown to the size of a mountain. People were getting scared. By this point, the smoke had turned into a massive cloud that reached all the way to the Bay of Naples. As the night wore on, the cloud grew larger and larger until it lit up the sky like a torch. The air was filled with the smell of sulfur. People knew something was wrong. Pliny the Younger watched in amazement as the cloud reached all the way to the stars. He described it as looking like a pine tree, although some say it resembled a fig tree. Others said it looked like a vast forest. Pliny the Younger sailed out to sea to get a closer look. But when he realized what was happening, he turned the ship around and fled. He described it as an incredibly tall and wide cloud that covered the entire face of the mountain. Ash began to fall from the sky, covering the ships. They had to be cleaned off constantly. And eventually the ash became so thick that the ships couldn't move and they had to return to shore. The people who stayed in the city of Pompeii had no such luxury. They could flee the advancing ash or stay in their homes and hope for the best. Either way, their fate was sealed. Soon the air grew heavy and hot. People struggled to breathe. Some collapsed from exhaustion and died. Others burned to death in their homes as the temperature rose to over 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Many historians believe that this is how most people died, not from the collapsing ash, but from the heat. Those who were fortunate enough to survive the initial blast were met with a layer of ash over the city. People who ventured outside were quickly met with suffocating ash clouds. Within minutes, they were completely buried. Entire families were wiped out in the blink of an eye. It was until 1748 that the world learned about the destruction of Pompeii, when a large gush of gas and soil revealed the ruins of the city. Archaeologists uncovered many well-preserved artifacts, including frescoes, sculptures, and even human bodies. Today, you can visit Pompeii and see these artifacts for yourself. So what can we learn from this? Well, volcanoes are scary. If you live near one, you should probably build a dome over your city. And also, don't stand too close when the volcano goes off, because it will not end well. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.